Hey, welcome back to GT Canada, the most confused channel on YouTube. Today I'm going to show you what I had to do to overcome the challenge of mounting a giant TV in a built-in cabinet. So in our living room, we have a built-in cabinet over top of our fireplace. And that cabinet was built in like 2005, before the widescreen flat panel TVs were really starting to catch on. So a lot of builders weren't really keeping an eye on the trends and the direction that everything's going. So they built the cabinet, the built-in cabinet, with the older 4:3 ratio opening. Up until recently, the biggest TV I could fit inside that cabinet was a 42-inch LG flat panel TV, and it just fit. I actually had to stick it in kind of at an angle, slide it in, and then bring it back forward for it to fit. So that was the biggest we could fit. Well, recently my wife came home with a giant 75-inch TV, and she wanted it mounted where that other TV was. Now, this house is actually a rental, so I can't do any permanent damage to this. I can't just rip out the built-in cabinets. I can't restructure the whole thing. I have to work with what I have. I imagine many of you are in the same situation. Either you don't want to take out your built-ins, or you just can't. For whatever reason, you can't take it out. So I'm going to show you exactly what I did to get that TV mounted so that it was safe without doing permanent damage to the existing woodwork that's in this house. So the first thing that you need to do is remove the old TV, obviously, and just kind of clear that space out. So here you can see we've got the old TV out of the way. We're kind of sizing up what the new TV is going to look like. We've also got the electronic devices there. We need to move those over to each side just so that they can be accessible once the TV's up. The goal here is to make an insert of sorts that'll just slide in. So I'm going to make it out of 3/4 inch plywood. I've measured the space opening, and my opening is about 39 inches wide, and my TV needs to be mounted, the top mount needs to be about 24 inches up. You might want yours to be higher, it might need to be wider, but you'll have to figure that out based on your own dimensions. I'm going to be using 2x4 studs to make the sides, so it's all just scrap materials that I have around the house here. If you've got better scraps, you can use those, but this is what I had here, so this is what I'm going to be using. So it's important to, when you're using power tools, to be safe, wear proper eye protection, and use a helper if required. Here I'm just cutting up all of the materials needed before final assembly. So then you're just going to mock it all up. So in this case, I'm just putting the 2x4s up to it, and then I'm going to do 3 screws on each side. Make sure it is lined up really well so it fits properly. And if you're not blind in one eye, you can hold your drill straight. If you are blind in one eye, then that looks straight to you while you're drilling. It's really not going to be seen, so it really doesn't matter how well it's done or not. Just get the screws in, make sure it's secure. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And again, just make sure that it's even before you screw it down. With that all finished, you can take it into the house for a test fitting and make sure it's going to fit into that space. If you measured it correctly, it should just pop right into place. So here you can see it's a very tight fit. I had to put it in at an angle and slide it in, but once it was in, it could move a little bit up and down. So I'm putting screws into the side to hold it into place. Once it's screwed in, you got to give it a good push test and a pull test, and the thumbs up to say it's ready to go. So this is what our insert looks like once it's all done and screwed into place. The components you can see are moved to either outside edge of the cabinet here, and you can see where the screws are. They're discreetly mounted in the sides there where it's not as visible. And our screws are mounted in 4 places: here, 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 and here. So 4 screws is all it takes to hold it into place. Next thing you're going to do, you will need to use a regular TV mount. So this one was bought on Amazon for a reasonably cheap price. I made sure to get one that tilts as well, because the TV is mounted up so high, you do kind of want it to tilt down so it kind of faces your eye line. It's important to look for something like that. Follow the manufacturer instructions for assembly to make sure that you're doing it correctly, and make sure that it's made for your size of TV. Then you're just gonna mount the bracket with the screws that are provided and mount it onto the back of the TV as well. Then you might need to get a few helpers to get it lifted up into place. Again, these are heavy, they're fragile, they're flimsy. You don't want to wreck anything. And then once it's clipped on in place, then it's just a matter of removing the plastic film and whatever else came for packaging materials, getting it all plugged in, and then it's time to power it on and test it all out. So with it all finally tested, now it's time to just play a movie and see how well it looks. As you can see here, Spider-Man's looking a lot better on that 75-inch TV versus the little 40-inch TV that was there before. This fills up the living room a lot more. You can see there's access to the sides for getting to the electronics and devices and that sort of thing still. It's not ideal, but it's still the best you can make when you need to make a 75-inch TV fit into that place. Hopefully this helped you to figure out how you can mount your giant TV in a built-in system. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check out some of the other videos over here. We got a lot of great various content in our back library. I'm sure there's something else that you would enjoy. If you haven't subscribed already, do that below. Click the subscribe button, smack the bell. We hope to see you again, but until next time, have a great day.